Hi, I'm Hema Ramanathan. I'm a teacher educator, an author, a scribbler, and now a podcaster, and as someone said, a pedagogical polymath. Welcome to the Hema Zone, where I discuss a wide range of topics related to the arts, music, books, education, things that I like and I hope you like. Every third Wednesday, I weave a narrative, share my ideas with a scintillating guest for a sparkling chat. I have with me today someone who sparkles on stage and off, the famous danseuse, choreographer, art administrator, Leela Samson. She's dedicated her life to Bharatanatyam, and she's often said she'd have it no other way. Training under the path-breaking Rukmini Devi Arundel in the premium dance institution of Kalakshetra in Madras, as it was then, she danced her way to the global stage. Her dance troupe Spanda has nurtured young dancers, called on the expertise of more seasoned ones, and given all of them a platform to showcase their talents around the world. She's come full circle when she undertook to lead Kalakshetra as a director for 7 years. Now, today we're going to talk about her dance, but not as a dancer. Her dance in relation to words. About 15 years ago, with everything that she did, performances, traveling, teaching, she wrote a first book on her teacher, her mentor, and her inspiration, Rukmini Devi Arundel. Her second book came out a little while ago, this year, on the other passion that she has, Bharatanatyam. So, welcome to the Hema Zone, Leela Samson. I'm delighted, absolutely delighted to see you and to talk to you and to spend time with you.
Thanks.
And to pick your brains about what you think. So, like I said, I'd like to talk to you about your dance, how you see dance, but also how you see the words as a dancer. Words as a writer and words as a dancer. Both of those. So, can you talk to us about your books? A very brief overview, a little more than I've given.
Actually, my first book was something on the 4 or 5 dance forms of India that came much earlier with Rowley Publications. And it moved from one person to another at that point. It sort of landed in my lap when I was rather young and busy. But I took it up because, the reason to pick up that book was because I just wanted so much. I was already in dialogue with these other forms, which I wasn't in when I was a student in Kalakshetra. But when I went to Delhi, we had people like myself who had come from the great set of the great gurus, Kelucharan Mahapat, Madhvi was there, Bharati Shivaji was there, Balakrishnan Ashan was there. In the Kathak field, there was Maharajji and so many lovely, lovely dancers, Singhajit Singh Ji and his wife, Swapna Sundari, all friends, all struggling, all, part of this world of dance. So I knew it would give me an opportunity to get into these forms a little more than what it was a coffee table book, but I still felt I needed to do that and express it in a way that I felt would have been lovely. And so that was a first foray. The latest one, I have to say, was a kind of, I was in the throes of leaving on a 4-month tour to America when Aleph asked if I'd do this little book, they said it was, and it is a little book. It's not at all substantial. It's just a small, and I think that's how they convinced me. And I said, to myself, you always do better when your plate is overfull. Why don't you just do it? And so in the middle of all these getting visas and, hassling over dancers and rehearsals and all, I stayed up nights and just wrote this little thing. It was a very small effort on my part. It was really not I don't consider it at all substantial. It was just what they wanted. It was a little in capturing the world of Bharatanatyam as I saw it, and they had certain emphasis areas where they wanted me to concentrate, and that's what I did.
What I found very interesting about that, I mean, apart from the fact that Ms. Ishwar in Delhi has written a whole series on Bharatanatyam, which
Yes.
is much more in depth.
Yes,
What I found interesting about your book is it's very easy to dip into it.
yes,
And as we were talking earlier, people now aren't prepared to go into depth and stay with something
yeah.
for 2-3 hours at a time.
Yeah, yeah. It's. So I did it so fast. I have to tell you this. I did it so fast, and I left. And then they actually they said it's kind of almost word perfect, and they brought it out when I wasn't here in July. I was in the States, and I received a copy from somebody who had happened to bring a. So I said, "Can I read it?" And they said, "Yes, yes, yes, go ahead," before we sign it off to somebody. So I took it to my room and I finished it in an hour.
Huh.
And I was sort of pleased. I said, "Oh, that's a quick read." So it is that kind of book. It's not there's no heavy weather in
But
it.
because of the chapters that you have there,
Yeah,
and you have chapters on people, you have
Yeah.
chapters on different kinds of
Banis.
of the sections of a dance.
yes,
So it's not a book that you need to read sitting down.
no,
I think it would be great if teachers were to use it
yeah,
for about 10 minutes at a time, the beginning of a class
Yeah.
or the end of a class, to read 3 paragraphs from it that illustrates or supports what they've done
Yes.
during that time.
yes. Yeah, it could be. It could be. I can't prescribe what it's useful for, but I can certainly say that it was written while I was writing it, I was thinking, I should be writing more in depth about this thing, This is these too few words. But it's good. I think brevity, you have to say there's something for it. You have to be able to, if you can't say it in a few words, it's not worth saying, is one side of it. And the other side is, of course, that these art forms, you can never stop talking about the detailing of it, because it's just endless. There's no end to the detailing that you can do, and the crafting and the mosaic quality of these. Any little thing, tala or raga or this or that or bhava, is just too filigreed to not to say that this is it. You can hardly ever do that. But Aleph sort of managed to get me to, as they say in Hindi, sankshipt mein bolo. Yes.
Actually, I'm going to shift you a little. When you wrote the book on Bharatanatyam,
Yes.
this one,
Yeah.
how much of the language of dance did you use? In the sense, dance has bhavam, ragam,
Yes.
talam,
Yes.
mudras, all of that. How much of that did you feel flow through you, as against when you're choreographing, for instance, where it's a physical thing too?
Yes. Actually, it's a strange thing. Scholars often tell us that, you dancers, I still remember many of them who I've had conversations with. I've always felt that scholars don't feel it like we do, and yet they write and they attend all these symposiums all over the world on dance. And how do you do that when you haven't actually done it? I have a problem with that, and I often said to them, but how would you know what it feels like? You got to feel it inside you, to express it. She said, but why the hell don't you all write? And that's true. Who should write biographies of dancers? I find dancers' lives absolutely amazing. Everyone from my generation down, I think everyone deserves a biography. They've had amazing lives. It would be a tapestry of how an Indian woman survives this, has survived post-independence, and in careers where you see it as dance is now all talked of as a female bodied career choice, but actually it's a male. It's still a very much a male body dance form. The larger number of people in the rural areas, and all are male, they're not female. But having said that, we've moved into various areas now of trance. Yeah, so it's moved on, and happily so. I think that all that is very, very important to the form. And the number of boys dancing is very, very heartening, and really almost 50-50 now, you know, in the number of top dancers that we have. So, I think writing is very important. Dancers should be the ones writing it. They know what happened. They know how it feels to be a family woman and be a dancer, or to be a star. Like we were talking about some of our friends who are star musicians or star dancers. To be a star and yet be maybe slightly abused at home, or
put upon at home.
Yeah. So, you know, this whole thing, not have a good relationship with your children while you have an amazing relationship with your students, or vice versa. These are very, very, very interesting things that have to be talked about, and they should come out in words. And I think dancers should write. However, you know, you have to also believe that dance is it should be a very selfish occupation, because you are honing in this body, not mentally, not in words, but in that the frame, the brush that you use is your body, and your body is every day changing little bit, and you've just got to work that much harder and put in that much more, not only your intelligence and everything that, or your maturity that now comes to play, but from the physical, the emotional, when you don't feel it. How did people like Kalanidhi Mami or any of these Devadasis, who were so elderly, sitting on the floor and teaching us padams and javalis, getting this emotion coming out from them, when they'd seen everything of life?
So when you say dancers need to write, do all dancers have the words to write
No.
with?
And also all dancers, I think it needs a particular type of person who maybe I sometimes believe that, you know, I am an outsider. I'm what you might call a pariah. I don't really belong inside. I think such a person, it's possible to look at the form as an outsider and evaluate it, but you're an insider in terms of the love you have for it and the experience that you have for it. And yet you have that little viewpoint as though you're a dancer from another genre, not a Bharatanatyam dancer, that you can actually look at the style and say, you know. So maybe it needs somebody like that. Because I think the evaluation has to come from love, but the words you use, often you get caught in the trap of those words. For instance, when we say bhava, when we use the word rasa loosely, when we say she's graceful, we use words, even our words like, you know, traditional, contemporary, modern. These are very cliched words. They come from a very Eurocentric point of view. They don't really belong to us. A postmodern dancer in Europe is not a postmodern dancer in India. So where do these where do they all fit into each country has its own, but its own history and time frames. Do we belong to those periods? Does India have that? We have a more perennial, cyclical kind of nature to our forms. They just keep flowing, and there's no sort of this period to that period to this period. You know, who is modern? We're all modern.
It's not linear.
It's not linear.
Right.
So words, I think, fail you in those areas. Like when we say, I'm a classical dancer. What does it mean when it closes the door on so many others? Does it mean that it's a likable place to be? I don't like the word at all. I don't think it should be used. But it has meaning in that you are part of what you called, said a little earlier, you said your dance has a shastriya. It's based on very definitive, structure. And that structure you have to know, and that is classical. That is the point, that it comes from there.
Do we have the vocabulary beyond what is given to us? Have we created, have we designed a vocabulary that works for dance as we see it in its many different forms now.
Oh yeah, that's why it's surviving and that's why it's thriving. Everyone has taken it on another little, down another road. And each one is enjoying it in that slightly folksy way, or that slightly cinematic way.
No. Let me
Yeah.
clarify. When I say verbiage, when I
Yes,
talk
yes.
vocabulary,
Yeah.
I'm talking of real words, verbal.
Yes.
So I know that when you say, I think I allowed you to misinterpret me on
Okay.
that. So do people have the words now to describe when they take it in different ways? Are they able to describe how and why they do that? Are they able to vocalize that?
No. I think it comes very much from the use of the body in a way that is not always. I don't think they can even analyze it, or it's not in the head. No, it's very much. That's why I'm saying that everybody can't be a teacher. Everybody can't be a writer. Every dancer is not going to be able to create, amazing works, or create the words required to capture, what is actually happening. I think most of it is like we Indians are, very instinctive, very coming straight from the body language and the fun of it. And oh yeah, I like Michael Jackson, so that's also, we'll put him into Bharatanatyam if we have to. No problem at all. We have no problem. We're very clever with our bodies, very, very good with our. But yeah, so the idea of one is the misuse of English terms that apply to our dance. If we used any vernacular language, we'd be better off, because we'd capture it in a better way.
I'm going to address that a little differently, move it slightly differently. When we look at the lyrics, whether we talk padam or javali or whatever, or varnam, when you look at the lyrics, there are some padams and javalis that are being interpreted differently.
Yeah.
So when you look at the lyrics themselves, what do they mean to you, and how has that, if it has changed over the years that you've choreographed, and you've done choreography for these in different ways, and used them in different contexts.
Yeah.
How has that changed? How is the words of the lyrics?
It is a journey. It is a journey. When you consider that, a Vagyakar, a gentleman of the age of definitely 60 plus, sitting in a very small temple in South India, wrote about the feelings of a 14 to 16-year-old girl, a Mugdha Naika, and managed to capture the thrill of the first touch by a man, and managed to traverse this distance between that first touch and this adulation of a godhead, where he was sitting in a temple and writing it, for heaven's sake. But it was full of shringaram at one level and full of bhakti on the other. So they managed to traverse these worlds very easily in time and space. We have big problems about that. The bhakti shringara divide was there for the longest time through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now it seems to be less talked about, thank God in a way, because they're two sides of the same coin. They really they aren't very different. But the problem with we now have as young people all over the world, I think the Indian diaspora even, is that this idea of devotion is attached to a religion, while actually, it's like love.
Spiritual,
yeah,
rather
it has
religious.
to be, yes. So if you've got to, I think every dancer has to get their fundas right. You've got to get your basics right. It's who is this Naika? And who am I talking about in these padams? And is it somebody that's not me, I'm just acting. So there's that one type of dancer who just puts on that, and therefore it becomes very mimicry and very almost as though it's a skin that they just go into the wings and shed very quickly. And there are others who get into the skin of it, and that stays. And when you go into the wings, it's very difficult to throw that away. You can't really get rid of that person. So if your next padam is a very different kind of padam, you probably have problems doing that. You have to be very clever and very together in the head and in the heart to be able to just turn that knob and say, I'm coming from a very, very strong Viraha devotional kind of Naika in the Varnam to this very coquettish Naika in the Padam, and then into a very, annoyed, nasty, sarcastic one in the Javali. And to be able to do that, actually it's a catharsis. It gives you that lovely, if you can get it and if you can do it and you enter that foray and enjoy it and all, then you actually enter a thing where these words are, giving you they're spinning and they're giving you the ideations required for you to be able to, but not in the English vocabulary. They give it to you in the Telugu, usually in Telugu. I have to say that even though we don't know that language, when you live with it so much in these padams and javalis and varnams, you start getting the feel of those words. And they have a spin-off that is very true to us, who we are. They don't, I won't say that you could substitute one of those words with an English word and actually let that be spinning in your head. It's a kind of funny thing. Also, we have the advantage of the music and the Kala Pramanams, which is definitely leads you down a path of, great beauty. But the journey with the Varnams, Padams and Javalis are quite amazing compared to, let us say, Sanskrit text. When you touch Sanskrit text, whether it's from the Vedas or the Puranas or from ancient, or Kalidasas or Jayadev or anything like that, it suddenly becomes very gambhir, very heavy, very classical, very, you can hardly escape the gravitas of that kind of sahitya. Compared to a Telugu Javali, which could be just tripping along this little riverbed, is so fast that you tumble because it's so pretty and so fast and so it's kind of light on the earth. It's not meant to be heavy like that. But when you touch Kalidasa, you're drowning in the metaphors and drowning in the allegories and all those lovely things that they do with their language. So I would say that there are very few who handle Sanskrit text well. Again, you have to be totally in love with Sanskrit to be able to get it.
Or to learn Sanskrit and what the layers of that language are.
Really, truly.
And it's not just the vocabulary.
Yeah.
But what language means. And I think we're losing that in practically every language because we don't study any in great depth.
Actually, Rukmini Devi had her finger on the button there because she insisted that we all learn. Sanskrit was compulsory, but we had to learn Telugu and Tamil as well, the script, in order to be a music or a dance student. Very good for us. And we were spoken to by, if Sitarama Sharma spoke to us, he spoke to us in Telugu. Many of the music vadyas spoke in Telugu. And the dance teachers all spoke in Tamil. They were... it's a funny thing. This language has become very important to me now because I've become a quasi actor, and I go on to a set, especially in Tamil cinema, and I have a very small role usually. It's just a day's work, but somebody who has to die, or somebody who's a grandmother, or somebody who's a friend or mother, and it's kind of funny because they say, "Amma, konjam kochaya pesunga." And then I realized that, willy-nilly, this non-Brahmin, suddenly, she's being accused of speaking very Brahmanical Tamil. And I realized it's because of my breeding in Kalakshetra. We always said, Neenga, Vanga, Ponga, and now it's like, bah, bah, bah. And I can't get myself to speak like that. I have to learn to be a little koche. Like those padams and javalis, it's been a journey for me to learn to be act risque, to actually step on that edge and get it out of the system, get it out of your belly, where words are literally taking you on pathways that are sort of not you. But that's what's so lovely about them, that the words, they skip along and you have to either get embedded with them into that poem or you get out of them and, let them lift you up. But words are words are so important, and your understanding of that word has to be so profound to be a dancer. I think musicians less, but for dancers, you cannot get by with a shallow understanding of a word. I think dancers more than anybody else, like a poet or a writer. A writer needs to know what the word means, yeah.
Well, unless the dancer knows what the words mean, then it can't be part of the body
It can't,
that she works with.
can't become your language.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's sitting outside your body. It's like, I don't really like this sweater. It's too new. It doesn't fit me well. And then you wear it and you wear it and you wear it and it becomes soft, it's become dirty, it's become everything that is, and then you say, now I know what it means. It has to just become you in a way that's very, very important, even if you don't know that language.
It really was fascinating to get into your mind about the words that you have in your head, the words that you have in your body, the words that you have with your dance, with your writing, because words are very important to me. So, and I love that. It's been such a delightful conversation.
Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful to have you today, Leela Samson. I enjoy your dance. I've enjoyed talking words to you.
Thank you.
And it's been a fascinating conversation. So come back and see us again. Listen to us more than one time. Get to me with the Hema Zone on Facebook, on Instagram. Like, subscribe, share, and let me know what else would you like to do. Anybody else as fascinating as Leela Samson? So on the third Wednesday of every month, and next month definitely, we're going to have engaging speakers in a new series, Second Wind, Creative Journeys at Sunset, about seniors who respond to a new passion in their later life. We'll connect with people who inspire us to see the world in different ways, in new ways, ways that they came to at a different point of their time. So come back and talk to us again, watch us, and thank you very much for being with us. See you later. I've had this fascinating conversation with Ms. Leela Samson, and it went on, and I didn't dare stop because it was so interesting. So what I'm going to do actually is have a part 2. So come back next week and watch part 2 again. And we will continue the conversation about words, about dance, about what happens in her body, in her head as a writer and a dancer.